Hi, yogis. We are going to start today's practice sitting on the middle of the mat into Sukhasana or easy seated pose. So bring your legs into a comfortable cross-legged position. Move the flesh away from your sit bones so you can really ground down into your mat. This may be where you want to have a bolster or a blanket or a pillow or something underneath your bottom to make you more comfortable in this seated position. Have your hands, palms facing down on your knees. Your chest is lifted, your spine is long, your shoulders are rolled away from your ears. Chin is parallel to the earth. Let's start with a few cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, just to release any stress or any tension you might be holding in the body. So go ahead, take a deep breath in through your nose, filling up with air. On an exhale, let it out your mouth. Again, inhale through the nose. Exhale out your mouth, letting go of any tension. One more time. Inhale through the nose and exhale out your mouth, relaxing into your body just a little. Now we're going to come into a mudra. A mudra is a hand gesture which enhances your practice. So it's Rudra Mudra is the name of this mudra, which I think is fun to say. So I'm going to show you how to get into it. You're going to bend your first finger, bend your ring fingers, and bring your thumb to touch the tips of those fingers. Your middle finger and pinky finger will be pointed up, as you can see. Now take and place the backs of your hands so your palms are facing up on your knees. And let's come into some steady, even breath in through the nose and out through the nose, starting to connect to our bodies and connect to our breath. So inhale through your nose, exhale out your nose. Slowing down, inhaling, and exhale. Continue breathing like this at your own pace. This mudra stimulates your solar plexus chakra, which is where your self-confidence comes from. So on your next inhale, imagine you're breathing in self-confidence, stimulating that chakra. In your exhale, you're releasing any self-doubt. Inhale, breathing in self-esteem, self-confidence. Exhale, release any negative self-talk that you have about yourself. Continue breathing in through your nose, out through your nose. Here's a good time to bring in an affirmation. I'm going to use I love myself, because once we love ourselves, we can let go of all of the worry about other people's judgments. So inhale, I love. Exhale, myself. Inhale, I love. Exhale, myself. Couple breaths here. In through your nose and out through your nose. One more time. Go ahead and blink your eyes open if they were closed. Release your mudra and place your palms down again onto your knees. Going to do some neck rolls. So drop your chin to your chest and then take your head over to the right, to the back, if that's comfortable, to the left, and to the front. Again, to the right, back, left, and chin to chest. One more time this direction. If you're feeling any stuck or anything tight, just hold it for a second more. And release to center, taking it in the other direction. To the left, back, right, and down. Again, if you're feeling any tightness anywhere, just sit there for an extra second. Let your body slowly start to warm up. I'm going to take it one more time in this direction. Breathing. Chin to your chest. If your eyes were closed, slowly blink them open and slowly lift your head up. Now for some shoulder rolls. So bring your shoulders up towards your ears and down your back. Again, up towards your ears, moving slow down your back. Really feeling into your shoulders, warming them up, and release. Now the other direction, take them back, up towards your ears, then down towards the front. This one always feels a little awkward to me. One more time, and release. I'm going to come into a twist. So if you are sitting up on something, you may want to grab one of your blocks. I'll show you why, and have it behind you. You're going to take your right hand and take it behind you, either to the ground. If you're sitting up on something, you're going to want to have it on the block. That way you're not falling backwards. You're nice and level. So take your right hand behind you. Bring your left hand to your right knee. And on an inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, twist from the belly button, twisting towards the right. Looking over your right shoulder, if that's comfortable on your neck. If not, then go ahead and look forward. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, release. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist in just a little bit more. One more time, inhale, lengthening, exhale, twisting in. Release back to center and take it to the other side. Left hand goes behind you to the floor or a block. Bring your right hand to your left knee. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, twisting from your belly button. Twist in, taking your gaze over your left shoulder. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist in. Release back to center. Grab your block, move it back to the front. And from here, we're going to roll over and roll down onto our back. So slowly roll yourself down. Take your left leg out in front of you straight with your foot flexed. Bend your right knee and bring it in towards your chest. Just pulling it in slightly. Move a little bit from side to side. Just going to start to warm up your hip. Little gentle movements, nothing quick, nothing fast. Now take the sole of your right foot up towards the ceiling, keeping your knee bent. Grab the outer edge of your right foot and begin to pull your knee down towards the mat, towards your armpit, coming into a half happy baby here. Just move a little bit here from side to side. Again, just warming up, just getting some movement in the body. Now take your left hand behind your head. We're going to do a couple of crunches here to start to just warm up your core. So inhale, and on an exhale, crunch up, keeping your gaze where the ceiling and the wall meet. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift. Inhale, release. Two more times. Exhale, lift. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift. Inhale, release. Release your arm and go ahead and bring your knee back in towards your chest. And a little bit of a wiggle here. Go ahead, release your right leg out to the mat. Have it out straight, your toes pointed up, your foot's flexed, and bring your left knee in towards your chest. And begin a little gentle movement here, just from side to side. Very small movement, nothing big. Waking your hip up. And we're going to take the half happy baby on this side. So foot up towards the ceiling. Grab the outer edge of your left foot with your left hand, and begin to open your hip, pulling your knee down towards the mat, towards your armpit. Take it slow and easy, be gentle. And just move a little from side to side if that feels good. Just warming up your hips. Take your right hand behind your head and crunches on this side. So inhale, and on an exhale, lift. Keep your gaze where the ceiling and the wall meet, and inhale, release. Exhale, crunch up. Inhale, release. Warming up your core. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, release. Again, exhale, crunch up. Release, and one more. Inhale, and then exhale, crunch. Inhale, release. Bring your left knee back into your chest. Little rock from side to side here. Take your left foot down to the mat and bring your right foot up to meet it. Both feet on the mat. Feet are hip width apart. Knees are pointing up towards the sky. Shoulders are rolled under slightly. Arms by your side. Palms facing down. We're going to come into bridge pose. So if you've never done bridge pose, please watch me first, because once you lift your hips, I really don't want you to move your head from side to side because you could hurt your neck. So on an inhale, lift your hips, pushing into your feet, engaging your quads so your feet stay hip width apart. If this is feeling good and you can clasp your hands underneath your bottom, go ahead and do that. And then roll one shoulder at a time under, just a little bit further to really open up the stretch. Really lifting, engaging your quads, chin is tucked. Make sure you can breathe. Opening up your heart, your chest, whole front side of your body. Breathe here. One more big breath in. And exhale. Release your arms, lift your heels, and slowly roll your spine back down to the mat. Take your feet as wide as the mat and let your knees fall into touch. And just take a breath here. Feeling all of that space you just created in your body. Bridge pose is a great heart opener. Opening your hearts to self-love, self-acceptance. Bring your feet back into hip width apart. We're going to take one more bridge. So inhale, lift your hips. Engaging your quads, chin tucked. If you did on the first one, go ahead and clasp your hands again underneath your bottom, rolling one shoulder under, then the next, just a little bit more. Really push into your feet and lift your hips and your chest. Breathing here. Smiling. I love myself. One more big inhale. Exhale, release your hands, lift your heels, and slowly roll your spine down to the earth. Take your feet out again as wide as the mat and let your knees come into touch. Again, take a breath. You could take a cleansing breath in through your nose and out through your mouth anytime you feel the need. As I said, bridge pose is a big heart opener. It moves a lot of energy around in your body, sometimes a lot of emotion. So a cleansing breath may feel good after that. Now take your knees apart and then drop both knees over towards the right. Taking your left hand and arm up overhead. So you get a really nice stretch all along the whole left side of your body. Breathing here, feeling that space. This one feels so nice. It's one of my favorites. One more breath here. On your next inhale, bring your knees back up towards center and then drop them over towards the left, taking your right arm up overhead, feeling the nice stretch all along the right side of your body now. Big breath. In through your nose and out through your nose. just really getting our bodies awake. Bring your knees back up to center. Bring your feet in to hip width apart. And we're going to rock and roll up and down our spine a couple of times. So grab the backs of your thighs and start to rock. If this is not comfortable for you, please do not do it. Just roll over to the right side and come up to sit. If you're coming with me, let's go ahead, come up to standing at the top of your mat. Coming into Tadasana, mountain pose. So big toes will be together to touch, or your feet can be hip width apart. Lift your toes, fan them out, and then feather them down slowly into the mat, really gripping the mat. Finding all four corners of your feet so you can move around a little. Make sure you're nice and grounded into the mat. Then come into stillness. Engage your quads so you don't hyperextend in your knees. Your pelvis is going to be neutral, which means it's not going to be, your booty's not going to be poking out. It's not going to be tucking under. Nice and neutral. Your chest is lifted, your spine is long, shoulders are rolled up and away from your ears, arms are palms facing in at your sides, and your chin is parallel to the earth. Find a drishti, a gaze point, something you can look at, and really stand here and feel the strength of your mountain pose. Breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. Mountains are strong and so are you. So breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. It's time for some sun salutations to really get us warmed up. So inhale, exhale, ground down into the mat, and on your next inhale, arms go up, overhead, palms come to touch. Exhale, hinging forward at the hips, coming down with a nice flat spine, head and hands hang, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, monkey pose. Exhale, plant your palms, step your feet back into a plank pose. Your knees can be on or off the mat here. On an inhale, press yourself forward to where your shoulders are over your wrists, and exhale, lower all the way down to the mat, keeping your elbows in tight. Release your toes. Inhale, lift your chest, cobra pose. Exhale, release down to the mat. Inhale, tuck your toes, knees on or off the mat. Press yourself all the way back up to plank, then hips come up and back, downward facing dog. This is your first downward facing dog. So keep your knees bent. Your hamstrings might not be quite ready to be straight yet. They could be a little grumpy, so take it easy. Your fingers will be pointed towards the front of the mat. Shoulders are wrapped. Your palms are firmly planted into the mat. When I say your shoulders are wrapped, I want your armpits closed. You have a nice straight line from your fingertips all the way up to your tailbone. Breathe here. And you can start to straighten your legs out. Or let's walk the dog. Bend into one knee, your right knee, bringing your left heel down towards the mat. Then bend into your left knee, bringing your right heel down towards the mat. Again, one or more on each side, really just opening up and waking up your hamstrings. And then slowly begin to lower your heels down towards the mat. They do not have to touch the mat. It's not necessary. Breathe here. And on an inhale, bend your knees, look forward, step, walk, float to the top of the mat, however you need to get there. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, head and hands hang. Inhale, arms come up, out, overhead, palms touch. Exhale, arms by your side, Tadasana, mountain pose. Let's add on a little bit to that sun salutation. So arms up, overhead, palms touch. This time, grab your left wrist with your right hand. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, bend over towards the right. Really opening up again on the left side of your body. Breathe here. Inhale, back up to center, and switch. Grab your right wrist with your left hand. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, bend over towards the left. Breathing here. And smiling. Inhale. Back up to center. Release your hands by your side, Tadasana. Clasp your hands behind your back, right at your bottom, coming into Yoga Mudra. So roll your shoulders down and away from your ears, opening up your chest here. If you can, begin to lift your hands away from your bottom, opening up your chest, opening up your shoulders. They don't have to come off far off your bottom. It's okay. Breathe. And release your hands by your sides, Tadasana. One more sun salutation. Inhale, arms go up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, hinge forward at the waist, coming down with a nice flat spine. Head and hands hang, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift with a nice flat back, monkey pose. Exhale, plant your palms. Step back into plank pose. On an inhale, shift forward, your shoulders over your wrist, and exhale, lower yourself all the way back down to the mat, releasing your toes. Here, we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So your elbows are right underneath your shoulders, tops of your feet are planted on the mat, and your pelvis is firmly into the mat. You're going to open your chest and act like you're pulling your elbows towards the back of the mat. Sphinx pose looks very easy, but there's usually actually a lot going on here. So breathe here. Just a couple of breaths. Take your left hand to your right wrist and begin to bend your right knee. Reach back with your right hand and grab your foot. We're just going to warm up and stretch out the quads just a little bit. So start to bring your heel in towards your bottom. It doesn't have to be far, just to where you feel sensation. If you can spin your hand around, that's fine, to where your fingers are towards the front of the mat. Make sure you're not dumping down into your left shoulder. You really want to be pushing up, because you're not only warming up your quads, you're stretching your back out too. So be careful. Never any pain, no pinching. If you ever feel anything like that, please back out of the pose. And release. Take one hand, put it on top of the other. Let your forehead rest here for just a second. Let your spine come back to neutral. Come back up into Sphinx. And we're going to take that quad stretch on the other side. So right hand to left wrist, bend your left knee. Reach back, grab the inside of your left foot, making sure you're not dumping down, pushing into your shoulder, and begin to bring your heel in toward your bottom. And breathe here and smile. Release your foot. One palm goes on top of the other. Your forehead rests. And let your spine just come back to neutral for a second. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes, knees on or off the mat. Press yourself up and back, coming into your plank pose, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose and let it out your mouth. On your next inhale, bend your knees and look forward. Step, walk, float to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, monkey pose. Exhale, forward fold. Head and hands hang. Inhale, arms come up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, release your hands by your side, Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, arms go up, overhead, palms touch. Exhale, hinging forward at the waist, come down, head and hands hang, forward fold. Inhale, nice flat back, halfway lift, monkey pose. Exhale, plant your palms and step back into downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift your right leg up and back. Exhale, knee to your chest. Step your right foot in between your hands and drop your left knee to the mat. Inhale, rise up. Coming into kneeling warrior, Anjaneyasana. Check your alignment here. Toes are pointed towards the front of the mat. Right knee is directly on top of your right ankle. Your hips are squared towards the front of the mat. Your pelvis is neutral. Make sure you're not dumping down way too much into your lower back. Keep your chest lifted, spines long, arms up, palms facing in, and breathe. Release your arms down. Grab one of your blocks. Have it onto the outside, just outside of the left side of your mat. Now it can be on the highest setting, middle setting, lowest setting, or if you don't need the block or don't want the block, then you can take it off. You don't need it. But you're going to bring your left hand to the block, to the ground, wherever, and begin to twist your body towards the right side of your mat. Lifting your right arm up and breathe. Now, bend your left knee, bringing your heel in towards your bottom. Reach back with your right arm and grab your foot. If that's not available to you, just keep your knee bent and your arm up. That's a beautiful place to be. If you're grabbing your foot, go ahead again, bringing your heel in towards your bottom, only to where you feel sensation. There's no need to tug or pull or make it difficult. Breathe here. Release your foot down. Bring your hands to either side of your front foot. Lift your back knee and step back into downward facing dog. And just walk your dog out here. Give your hamstrings a nice stretch. Release your heels down towards the earth. On your next inhale, lift your left leg up and back. Knee comes into chest, and step your foot in between your hands, dropping your back knee, your right knee to the mat. Inhale, lifting, coming up, kneeling warrior. Check your alignment here. Make sure your left knee is directly on top of your left ankle. Pelvis is neutral, your chest is lifted, and spine is long. If you need a little more sensation, you can walk your front foot forward, just a little, but make sure your alignment is good. And breathe. Release your hands and grab your block. Bring it to just outside of the right side of your mat, on whatever setting you need it to be. And begin to twist your body towards the left side of the mat, taking your left arm up. Breathing here. Make sure you're not dumping down, pushing into your shoulder, opening your chest, opening your heart. Begin to bend your right knee, bringing your foot towards your bottom. Grab your foot if that's available to you, and begin to pull your heel in towards your bottom. And breathe. Keeping that nice twist, keeping your heart opening. One more breath. Release your foot down. Take both hands to the outside of your foot. Lift your right knee and step back into downward facing dog. And again, walk your dog out. Give your hamstrings a little bit of rest. Let's take one vinyasa. So shift yourself forward into plank. You can drop your knees to the mat. Push yourself forward, shoulders over your wrists, and exhale, lower yourself all the way down to the mat. Elbows in tight. Release your toes. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, release. Inhale, tuck your toes. Press yourself back up to plank. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here. In through your nose, and then out through your nose. I love myself. Go ahead and drop your knees down to the mat, coming into tabletop, and then we're going to slowly lower all the way down to your belly. Take your hands off to each side of your mat. Have your fingertips be on your fingertips. You're going to come into wide cobra. And this is where we're going to incorporate the breath work that I was telling you about. It's called lion's breath. So on an inhale, lift, opening your chest. Exhale, stick out your tongue, open your mouth wide and make it loud. Releasing. Lower back down to the mat. Inhale. Exhale, lion's breath. Stimulating your throat chakra. Help you find your voice. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, lion's breath. Releasing all those old stories. Go ahead. Bring your hands back to your sides. You're going to come back into Sphinx pose. So, shoulders are over your elbows. Palms are firmly in the mat. Fingertips are pointed forward. Pelvis is pushed into the mat. Tops of the feet are on the mat. Again, pulling your elbows back so you're opening up your chest, pulling it through your shoulders. Keeping your chin parallel to the earth. Breathe here. Going to start to come into seal pose. So begin to press your palms into the mat and start to straighten your arms. Now, this may be as far as you want to go today, or you may want to stay right here in Sphinx pose, and that is perfectly fine. But begin, if you're coming with me, begin to push into your palms, straightening your arms, and you're now in seal pose, keeping your chest open, your shoulders are away from your ears. Again, this is a lot on your lower back. If you feel any pinching, tightening, any type of pain, please back out of this pose. We don't ever want any type of pain because this is a big one. One more breath and release your elbows down to the mat, and then place one palm on top of the other and rest your cheek on your palms. And just give yourself a second to let your spine come back to neutral. Go ahead and bend both of your knees and bring your feet up. And then drop both of your feet over towards the right. Come back to center. And drop them over to the left. This is really going to help release your lower back. Just do that a couple more times on each side. And then bring your legs back down to the mat. Take your palms underneath your shoulder and push yourself up. Coming back to just kneeling on your heels just for a second. You're going to come down onto your bottom. Take your legs out in front of you. Your feet will be flexed. Legs are straight. You're going to come into Janu Sirsasana legs. So that's head to knee pose. So bend your right knee. Let your right knee fall out towards the right. Bring the sole of your right foot to the inside of your right thigh. Move the flesh away from your sit bones again. And now take your right hand, place it behind you towards the center of your mat. Fingertips are pointed towards the back of the mat. From here, on an inhale, you're going to start to lift and push your hips up, just like you did in bridge pose. Bringing your left foot down to the mat, and you're opening your chest. You're not dumping into your right shoulder. You're really pushing with all your might. And you are now in a modified wild thing. So we are beginning to let our wild side shine here. Feeling that opening all along the whole front side of your body. And slowly release yourself back down to the mat. Give yourself a second here. That was a big move. Take your right leg out in front of you, shake them out, and take it on the other side. So bring your left sole of your foot to the inside of your right thigh, letting your left knee fall out to the left. Left arm goes behind you towards the middle of the mat, fingertips pointed towards the back of the mat, really pushing into the mat. And on an inhale, begin to lift your hips, taking your right foot to the mat, taking your right arm up and over, and you are again in a modified wild thing. Breathe here. Feel the opening of your heart, your throat. And release back down to the mat. Take a second here. Always move mindfully. Don't ever move too fast. We're not in a hurry. Take your left leg out in front of you and give your legs a good shake. And go ahead, swing your legs behind you, and let's just come into kneeling for a second. Grab your 2 blocks, and you can place them inside of your feet and just come to rest just for a second. We just moved around a whole lot of energy in our body, so let's just take a second and find mudra again, the Rudra mudra, where again you bend your first finger, ring finger, and your thumb come together to touch. Middle finger and pinky finger are pointed up. Bring those again, palms facing up on your thighs, and just take a second here. I love myself. Now we're going to come into the full pose of Wild Thing. Wild Thing is a big pose, and it can be intimidating to look at and to see, but there are many ways to get into Wild Thing, and I'm going to show you step by step and demystify it a little bit for you. But Wild Thing is an amazing pose. It opens your throat chakra, your heart chakra, and your solar plexus. So it helps you find your voice, helps you with your self-love and self-acceptance, and helps boost your self-confidence. So it's a win-win-win. And it's one of my favorites. It's a beautiful pose. Go ahead and release your mudra. Move your blocks out of the way. And come into tabletop position. Now, if you would like, you could, of course, can just sit and watch me stay in that pose and just watch and pause the video and then try it yourself. It's totally up to you. If you want to come with me, come along. So you're in tabletop. Your shoulders are over your wrists, hips are over your knees. You're going to take your left hand, move it out in front of you just a little bit, but you still want a nice straight line between your shoulder and your wrist. You want those in alignment. You're going to also move your left hand in towards the center of the mat just a little bit. Take your left foot and swing it out to the back of the mat, to the side. Then you're going to come onto the inside edge of your right foot and bring your right hand to your hip and then take it up and over. You're again in a modified Wild Thing. Feel that opening. Next step, take your right foot and plant it on the mat in front of your left leg. Straighten your left leg out, bringing the knife edge of your foot down to the mat. Again, you can stay right here. This is a beautiful place. One step further, lift your right leg, step it behind your left leg, and lift your hips, opening your chest, and you are now in Wild Thing. Breathe here. Feel all of the power that's in you. Let that Wild Thing shine. And smile. Now to come out, we're going to move very slowly. Bring your right leg back in front, right palm to the mat, and then come back into tabletop. Sit back on your knees, on your heels. And take a breath. Whew. That's a lot of work, but it's a beautiful and it's a lot of fun. And it has amazing benefits. Now it's time to take it on the other side. Come back into tabletop. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Right hand goes out in front just a little bit further, keeping your shoulder in line with your wrist, then moving it in just a little bit. Swing your right foot out to the side. Come down onto the inside edge of your left leg, straighten it out, and then lift your left arm up and overhead. Modified wild thing. Going further, bring your left foot down to the mat, straighten out your right leg, nice edge of the right foot on the mat. Open here, still in a modified wild thing. Keep pushing into your right hand. If you're ready to go forward, step back with your left foot behind your right leg, and open. Lift your hips, opening your chest, breathing, and smiling. Try to smile. Release serotonin. It's good for you. Makes you happy. Coming out, left foot comes back down, back into tabletop, and again, sitting back on your heels. And take a breath. Good job, guys. That was a lot of work. You learned a lot, and it's an amazing pose again. And after all that work, it's time to cool it down a little. So go ahead, take your knees out as wide as the mat. And let's just come into modified child's pose just for a few minutes, or a few seconds. Walk your hands out in front of you, or you can stack one fist on top of the other, resting your forehead, or take your arms out in front and lower your chest towards the mat. Of course, it does not have to touch. And just breathe here. Start to calm your breath down. Inhaling, filling up the whole back side of your body. Exhale. Let it all go. Inhale. And exhale. One more breath. Slowly walk your arms back up and come to have a seat and swing your legs out in front of you. Move the flesh away from your sit bones. Again, if you need to sit on something, go ahead. And again, grab a block because we're going to be doing a twist. Bring your right knee up. Have the right inside of your foot, a little space in between that and your left knee. Left leg is straight, your foot is flexed. You can have a slight bend in the knee if you need to. Take your right hand behind you. Inhale, lengthen. This is where you would need your block if you're sitting up on something. Exhale, twist in, wrapping your left arm around your right knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist in. Taking your gaze over your right shoulder if that's comfortable for you. Inhale. Exhale, twist in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Release back to center. Straighten out your right leg. Give them a little shake. Bend your left knee. Inside of your left foot is right by your right knee with a little space in between. Right foot is flexed. Left arm goes behind. Inhale. Exhale, wrap your right arm around your left knee and begin to twist from your belly button. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist in. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, twist. Inhale, release back to center. Take both your legs out in front of you. Shake them out. And again, situate yourself on your bottom, moving the flesh away from your sit bones, coming into Paschimottanasana or forward fold. So arms on either side, hands on either side of your legs. Knees can be bent here. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, hinging forward, tilting your pelvis forward. Coming down slowly like there's a string pulling your chest towards your big toe. Slowly, slowly go in, breathing here. Nice, straight, long lower back. Begin to straighten your legs out. Tuck your chin slightly. We're using this pose as a restorative pose to calm your mind, your body, your nervous system. So we're not trying to attain anything here to see how deep we can go in your forward fold. It doesn't matter. Just relax in to where you have sensation and breathe. I love myself. Slowly, slowly begin to walk yourself back up to sit. Take a second here. Forward folds can make you a little dizzy sometimes, so be easy. Go ahead, plant your feet onto the mat, scoot your bottom down, and roll yourself down onto your back. We're going to come into Shavasana now, so if you want to grab anything, pillows, blankets, bolsters, whatever you want to make yourself extremely comfortable during this position, please get it. You've done a lot of hard work and you deserve a really nice Shavasana. So once you get yourself situated, have your legs out straight. Take them out a little wide. Let your feet fall open. Arms by your sides, palms facing up. Roll your shoulders under slightly. Get out all your fidgets, wiggles, anything that's left in there. Shavasana is the time when your body incorporates everything it just learned in practice. You get to absorb all the benefits of your practice when you come into Shavasana. So don't skip it if you have an opportunity to do it. Start to breathe deep in through your nose. Go ahead and let that one out your mouth. I'm going to do a quick body scan just to make sure we thoroughly release down into the mat. So starting at the top of your head with your scalp. Bring your attention there and then let it soften. Relax your forehead, the space in between your eyebrows that we're always squinting and crinkling up. Let it relax. Your eyes, cheeks. Relax your tongue away from the roof of your mouth and relax your jaw. Feel your neck, your shoulders, the backs of your arms, upper arms, the backs of your palms, all the way to your fingertips. Feel all of that just release and soften down into the earth. Your upper back, mid back, your hips and your glutes, all relax. Feel the backs of your thighs, your calves, your heels, all the way down to your toes. Just let everything go. One more big breath in. Exhale and just drop. Slowly start to deepen your breath. You can stay in Shavasana as long as you would like if you have the time. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, please, by all means, take a long one. But if you're coming with me, slowly begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, just bringing back a little bit of movement into your body, slowly waking it back up. Maybe move your wrists and your ankles just a little. You can take your head from side to side if that feels okay on your neck. Moving slowly. If you'd like, take your arms overhead and do a full body stretch. And release. Bend your knees and bring your feet to the mat. Slowly roll yourself over towards the right side, using your right arm as a pillow for your head. Just rest here for a few breaths. Let your body come back into balance. Slowly begin to push yourself up to a seated position. You can keep your eyes closed if you can. If not, that's okay. Coming back into Sukhasana, easy seated pose. Move the flesh away from your sit bones. Bring your hands to rest, palms face down on your knees. Take a few breaths here in through the nose, out through the nose. Do a quick check-in. How are you feeling now? I hope you feel a little more open, a little more wild, a little more free. Found a little self-love and acceptance. Circle your hands together. Palms come to touch in front of your heart. I end all of my practices with gratitude. So thank your body for allowing you to experience meditation through movement. Thank your breath for giving you life. And thank yourself for showing up on this mat today and doing something so good just for you. Always be unapologetically who you are and let your lights shine bright. Namaste. Blink your eyes open. Slowly lift your head. And that concludes practice. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Go let your wild things shine.